All right, y'all. Rural MAGA states going broke after Trump's policies hit them hard, man. Y'all know what it is, dog. The begging definitely finna start. We definitely finna beg. I need them hypes. I need that, bro. Them help the videos out so much, and I really appreciate y'all. And one more thing for note keeping. A few videos ago, I was showing y'all some things about Egypt and things of that nature, and a lot of y'all was inquiring about what's the name of the book. This is the book. Screenshot the book. Screenshot the book. There you go. A lot of great information in here. I'm not going to tell you no lie. This isn't the easiest read. You're going to need a dictionary for the average person. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. But other than that, it's a great book.
This video is for my rural friends. We have to stop voting for GOP politicians. Their policies are ruining our way of life. Think about our schools. In Missouri, 20% of kids are going to school on a 4-day week. Why? Because we can't afford to keep the lights on. They are defunding our public schools, trying to get charters and private schools to take their place so they can give kickbacks to their friends. Our roads are so bad that I have to drive into oncoming traffic to avoid potholes. They put guns everywhere. I mean everywhere. In the state of Missouri, if you're 19 years old, you can open carry a rifle with no permit and no training. And then to top it off, they nullified federal gun laws. The Missouri GOP is actually leaving criminals on the street because guns. They don't care about our health. They consistently vote against Medicaid expansion. They also don't care about a one-payer system. They're all about backing the insurance companies. They put CAFOs, or concentrated animal feeding operations, in our rural communities. They ruin our air and our water quality. But this next part I'm going to tell you about is big, and nobody's really talking about it. They're selling off our farmland. In Missouri, foreign corporations own almost 100,000 acres. And why is that important? Because that's how we grow our food. Because that is our national food supply. And this is an issue of national security. Land is finite. They are truly and honestly trying to make women second-class citizens. We have no control over our own bodies. We have no body autonomy. They don't care if there is an instance of rape or incest. We have no control over our own bodies. The GOP are union busters. They're all about corporations keeping as much cash as they can and the rest of us living off breadcrumbs. I could go on and on, but the point is, the GOP does not care about rural America. They've shown us over and over again. They don't care.
Gosh, she said something important, bro. She was like, damn, the corporations are buying up all the farmland. Over 100,000 acres. Look, to put that in perspective, bro, that's like 100,000 football fields. That is crazy. And guess what? If the corporations own the land, what if they decided to just not use it, not grow any food? I wouldn't put nothing past them at this point.
American my entire life. But the truth is, in rural America, poverty is higher, wages are lower, and jobs are far and few between.
I live in rural America. Rural America overwhelmingly voted for Trump. In fact, they overwhelmingly vote Republican against their own best interests. In my other videos, you see me talk about the reasons why. But a new condition placed by Trump on the broadband fund of $40 billion to help give access to rural America for broadband is hit a snag by a new condition that he's placed on internet providers. And that is that they cannot charge less to people who qualify for low income. They have to charge the same price that they charge everybody. Wow. What does that do? Well, we've talked about this in my other videos, and what that does is makes it harder for rural America to get access to information, to find out that the Republicans are lying to them. It guts our education. And after all, that's all the Republicans have ever wanted. A tale as old as time. Keep your constituents uneducated, and you keep them in line. Fuck Donald Trump.
My whole thing is this, dog. The Republicans don't have a positive track record at all. So it was like, yo, how do you even vote for these people? If you check what they have done historically, you'll be like, damn, I really get nothing for voting for them at all. I'm dead serious.
You know, I just don't understand why poor white people in rural areas keep voting for Republicans. It's like you're literally voting against your own best interest. Greetings, racist idiots. I've come to save you from yourselves. Me politician. Me help you stop be ignorant. make money. Do you know what money is? Or do you trade like deer antlers? I would literally rather replace every organ in my body with broken glass than spend another 4 minutes in your shitty town. And you can tell, just being physically proximate to you people makes me profoundly nauseous. I've already broken out in hives all over my entire Pilates-toned body. You are everything that's wrong with this country, and that's why I need you to vote for me. If you can figure out how to read the ballot. Do you have reading and writing here?
I would say
she posed a very important question. Why do they keep voting for the Republicans when historically, and it's documented, you don't really get much out of them? I'm gonna tell you why. Because as long as they feel like other people who are not white are getting less, then everything is fine. If they're getting deported, if they're being harassed, do y'all know it's legal for ICE to just basically discriminate and harass you based on the color of your skin or the tone or accent you speak in? That is 100% a real thing. So if you don't look white, ICE can just come and harass you, which is crazy because there are white immigrants in this country who are illegal.
Say that at least 85% of the people that I take care of are Donald Trump supporters. Not only that, but I have had the opportunity to see Trumpetville through the lens of a physician, through the lens of somebody who the population brings their most vulnerable and raw human needs to. And I would love to talk about that. For the last 12 years of my adult life, I have been down in the Bible Belt, in the South, in Trumpetville.
Hey, I want to touch on this, man. Recently, I visited my father who lives in Bastrop, Louisiana, and driving to him, man, bro, there is an old rundown church on every corner. The South has more churches per capita than anywhere else in the world, dog. That is crazy. And guess what? When you see the correlation between churches per capita in the South, you also see that we are doing the worst. The states that have the most churches are literally the poorest, most uneducated states. Damn, I got tongue tied with that. Not to say religion is bad. I'm just saying there's a correlation with it.
That all of these populations are getting so royally played by this man makes me want to throw up. For starters, after going through medical training down here, I do want you to know that they tell us to not speak to patients at anything above a 6th grade reading level. And in fact, they recommend a 4th grade reading level. That is because the education in these states is so poor that your health literacy is at like a 6th grade level.
I believe it.
So you know who has a lot of success with people who don't have a lot of education or a high literacy? People who love to manipulate other people. Donald Trump knows how uneducated you are, and he is utilizing his relatable tactics to fire you up and get you excited about making America great again. And he is going to rip the rug out so effing hard that y'all are not going to be able to stay alive. You're not.
She touching on an interesting point. Think about it, bro. They made you hate blacks, Mexicans, you name it. These people don't even see those type of people on an everyday basis, but they're voting because they're saying things about those people that they like. No black people live in your neighborhood. Black on black crime don't affect you. Like, come on, man.
Not going to be able to keep your children alive. I know how many families in Arkansas and Oklahoma rely on WIC, rely on food stamps, rely on health departments, on education systems, on access to free things in the community because the income is not great enough for you to sustain your life. The people who want to take those things away from families, away from individuals, away from disabled persons is your current president. Number one. Number two, the health in this part of the country is so bad. I think Arkansas is like 48th, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Louisiana. All these states are 48, 49, 50, 47, 48, 49, 50 in healthcare and in health status. So,
and that's all by design, by the way, especially if you're black and live on Cancer Alley or Valley. I always get those two mixed up. I don't know if it's Alley or Valley, but I know goddamn well if you live in river parishes on the river road by all of those plants, that's what I'm talking about.
So then we take that in conjunction with the fact that we also have the lowest educated populations, in conjunction with the fact that we also have the lowest incomes in the country, and tell me how you expect to be able to survive through these policies. Please tell me. What I really want to know is just how y'all lay your head down at night knowing you are the world's biggest hypocrite. I truly can't imagine what it feels like to rely on government services and then support wholeheartedly and blindly a person who is slashing those things from everybody. I don't know how y'all lay your head down at night and say that reacting to unlawful activity brought out by Proud Boys and ICE agents is an insurrection. However, when y'all lost an election, you literally stormed the entire fucking capital of the country and shot people and sat on the desk and disrespected this country more than anybody ever has ever in history over one man. So stop saying you're Republicans. Stop saying you're
this a
Americans. You're in a
fiery white
fucking
woman.
cult. You are in a cult led by a man who doesn't even need to provide any reasoning anymore. Y'all are just like, yeah, Trump. What is it about him? What's your threshold? Like,
you know what's interesting? If another professional showed us, displayed any of the characteristics that Trump displays, you would immediately fire him. For instance, if your dentist couldn't control his bowels, wouldn't you find another dentist? If your doctor couldn't control his need to fall asleep every 30 seconds, wouldn't you fire him? If your lawyer talked in circles saying things like beautiful young women love us, beautiful young women love us, they walk up to me every day and say they feel so safe, they used to never feel safe, they always was walking around in constant fear, but he's supposed to be talking about your taxes, wouldn't you be like, yeah, this dude has dementia or something, and let him go? But nah, not the dumb people that voted for him. They just don't see it.
at what point would you be like, okay, maybe this isn't what I voted for? I want to know, because we need to be able to call you out on it whenever that does inevitably happen. Because we're so sick and tired of y'all making excuses for the nastiest mother trucker in the entire world, who is killing humans, who is widening the gap that we have spent so long trying to bring just a little bit closer together so that people can literally function in life. How do you lay your head down at night knowing that your next door neighbor and that your little kid's best friend is on Medicaid, is on WIC? You don't care about them? It is absolutely embarrassing to think that somebody utilized not only their power and their greed, but also just their ability to relate with people so that they can easily manipulate other people. He's a mastermind at that. And y'all are too uneducated and too sick and tired of, I'm paying taxes to the Democrats.
You don't make
You're
any
paying
money.
taxes so that your neighbor can have the shit that they need. I know for a fact that every single person in those states watching this video is just a few degrees separation away from somebody whose life, not just livelihood, whose life will be stripped from them under these current policies.
Thanks.
I know for sure. I know what the heart failure looks like. In Arkansas, for example, we are the state of most patients with 4 or more chronic diagnoses. That means they have heart failure, renal failure, they're on dialysis, they're this and that and this and that. That's going away. Your disability that you have for your arthritis, going away. All that durable medical equipment, the wheelchairs, the shower chairs, all those things going away. Home health going away. Going away.
Hey, just some guy here, and this is why rural MAGA voters lose the most from school vouchers. I'll explain it slowly with some maps and math. Okay, this one is probably going to sting a little because you rural conservatives are being played the hardest in this whole school voucher circus, and I don't think you even realize it. So let's walk through it. School vouchers, they sound great to y'all on TV. Freedom, choice, escape failing schools. Cool. Now, quick question. How many private schools are within 30 miles of your rural town? Exactly. Most rural counties don't have private schools. They don't have charter networks. They don't have choice marketplaces. They have one school. One, and that school is the football stadium, the jobs hub, the community center, the emergency shelter, the tax base anchor. It's the heart of the town. Now here comes the voucher policy. State legislator passes it. Tax dollars get set aside for school choice. Urban, suburban families where private schools actually exist, they use it. Rural districts, they still only have one school, but now their state education budget is thinner. So the rural district loses funding. They don't gain options. That's not choice, that's extraction. Studies from groups like National Rural Education Association have warned that voucher expansion disproportionately harms rural districts because enrollment loss hits harder when you only have one school. You can't consolidate when you're already consolidated. You can't shop around when there's nothing to shop. And here's the brutal math. An urban district loses enrollment, it's annoying. A rural district loses enrollment, that might mean cutting teachers, cutting electives, cutting sports, and combining grades. Small districts operate on very thin margins. There's no cushion. And guess what else rural schools often have more of? Higher poverty rates, higher special education needs, longer bus routes, higher transportation costs. They are already expensive to operate per student. Now reduce funding and what happens? Programs disappear and the politicians say, see, it's inefficient. No, it's isolated. And here's the kicker. Voucher money overwhelmingly goes to metro areas because that's where private schools are. So rural taxpayers help fund private school tuition in cities while their own schools get weaker. You are subsidizing someone else's choice. That's the grift.
Taxation without representation. That's what that is.
And when rural schools close, towns shrink, property values drop, young families leave, businesses don't move in. The community erodes. Public schools are economic anchors. You rip them out and the town bleeds. Meanwhile, the same politician who pushed voucher campaigns on protecting rural America, protecting it from what? Its own school? If you're rural and cheering vouchers, you're voting to destabilize the only education infrastructure that you have. That is not freedom, that is self-sabotage. School choice was designed for dense areas with alternatives. Applying it to rural America is selling subway passes in a town without a train. But it polls well, so they sell it anyways. And you rural voters, just keep footing the bill. Just some guy's thoughts.
Hey, bro, somebody like Overseer Taintum would hear everything this dude just said and be like, I don't buy that. You know, I haven't seen the data. I just don't understand that based on my personal experience. Like, shut the hell up, bro. Bootlicking ass. This type of stuff right here really gets on my nerves.
As a person that's had MAGA family their whole life, even before it was called MAGA, I can tell you that they have always been able to dish it, but never been able to take it. Not ever. These people are so fucking mean, okay? And they always have been. My father is from deep rural Southeast Missouri. I still live in Missouri, but I live in Kansas City today, a stunning oasis compared to the rest of Missouri. But my dad left home when he was 18 to go to college, literally for the reason of wanting to make a better life for himself, because he grew up in a tiny, deep red, incredibly racist, incredibly sexist town with a single mother. So like, he had a lot of this knowledge that life wasn't going too well for them, you know? And his mom tried really hard. She wasn't perfect, but she did her best, but their circumstances were not the best, and he knew he needed to go get an education and go do something else. So he got a football scholarship for his first year, and then he worked to cover the other years. And I think he also got other financial help from other places, but he busted his ass to leave this town, to go to college, to make a better life for now me and my sibling. Like, literally, he knew from that very young age that he wanted kids, that he wanted a family, that he just wanted a better life for himself. You know what my family, still back in Southeast Missouri, still calls him to this day? A traitor.
Oh my God.
They call him a family traitor for leaving Southeast Missouri, for leaving them behind, and they call him elitist because he wanted to go live in the city. He wanted a better life because, you know, we settled in Kansas City, which is a decent sized city. It's not huge, but it's, you know, we've got tall buildings. There's a lot of stuff to do around here. And literally this started from the moment he went to college. They started saying this the moment he left, and he is now 50 years old. And they still say this to him.
Say, bro, that's like me, man. You know, let's say I'm around some people from around the way. I'm in the hood, man. Say, well, what you about to do with your life, man? I think I'm going to go and get my degree, man. I'm thinking about enrolling at Xavier University, pre-pharmacy, maybe pre-med, possibly engineering. Sell out ass nigga won't do something with his life. Duck ass. Boy, you won't go. Boy, you trying to make something of yourself, stupid looking at. That's like that. Boy, what? These some low IQ individuals, man.
Whenever he shows up. And earlier this year, well, actually, I guess it was late last year when Trump won the election, they just fucking started spamming him texts about Trump. And my father was dark woke before dark woke was a thing, because he is on the left, but he will be mean about it, okay? He will spout left-wing talking points in your face with the vigor of a Fox News conservative talk show host. He's not super nice about it all the time, but like, they started it and they're also not nice about it, so like, who gives a fuck, right? But literally last year Missouri was putting abortion on the ballot. They're putting it on the ballot again next year. Love living in a fascist state that doesn't give a fuck what their citizens want. But it was on the ballot last year. And so my dad, being the good person that he is, was trying to get them to vote in favor of, you know, allowing abortion to be legal in this state. And they literally were like, no, baby killer, blah, blah, blah. Here's some lore about my father. His mom had an abortion before she had him, okay? And they were pulling out that fact, and they were saying, like, your mom's a baby killer, your mom, you know, his mom's dead now, by the way. Yeah, she's dead. She can't defend herself.
You know, that means she ain't had no positive relationship with that woman, because she's referring to her as his mother. That's wild, man. I understand it though. I didn't really have a great relationship with my mother's mother, but it is.
But they just said these things to him just out of the kindness of their own hearts. And I just fucking hate when MAGA acts as if they're all like, oh, we just want to be left alone.
Yeah, right.
Just stop shoving all your stuff in my face. Like, if you would just let us live, we wouldn't bother you. It's like, that's not true. Because you've been bothering and shitting all over my father and us too. Like, by association, like, they don't like me or my sibling or my mom really either. We're all city elitists, even though we literally live in a mid-sized Midwest city. It's not fucking New York over here. It's not even Chicago. And they've been so fucking mean to us. Our whole lives. And I hate it when conservatives get on this app and act like they're the victims. It's like, no, you're fucking not. I know you've been this way to people your whole life. You've always been assholes. My father literally cut ties with a lot of his family this year because they kept just fucking antagonizing him about Trump and texting him about Trump and telling him how they like that the libs get upset when they talk about it, the libs being him, right? And they're his fucking family. Like, he grew up with them. He was actually like close with these people at one time. These are people that helped raise him. And then they decided they hated him when he went off to college, that he was an elitist, that he was a traitor to the family because he decided to go try and build a better life. So I don't want to fucking hear it from y'all. You've been mean, you've been shitty for as long as I can remember, and you can't make excuses, okay? I know you guys. I grew up with you guys.
Yeah, that was a lot to unpack right there, but I've seen it time and time again. I've seen so many videos of people like her describing their upbringing and why they chose not to be the same way, or their parents who were raised by those type of people and what happened for them to turn out not that way, which is, you know, it brings me back to, like, you know, when I started going to school with white folks for the first time, dog. I look back at those white boys, the one who, you know, I knew they was racist. Them the biggest MAGA supporters now, bro. Those are the biggest MAGA supporters now. The ones I worked with when I was an early teenager, when I was in my early 20s, the ones who are out right now proudly representing MAGA, they were shitty people back then. But the difference was they didn't have the balls to say the things that they say now, because when Trump got in office, they became, what's the word? Emboldened. Before that, you know, they used to have their little secret meetings and stuff, you know, behind buildings and dark alleys, you know, with hoods on and stuff, because they didn't have the balls to say it to your face. But now they feel like Trump made it to the point where they could be brave and say it. You can't. You'll still get your ass folded like a third grade love letter, you know. With that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Please hype the video up. Matter of fact, bro, we almost getting 100. We almost close to 100K, man. I told myself I wasn't going to get back on social media until I hit 100K. And I ain't going to lie, I'm about to crack. I miss being on Instagram and shit and posting crazy stuff. I can't do that until I get my plaque for this channel, man. We need about 20K. Help your boy out. I'm going to holler at y'all. Be cool.
Hype me